there a second? Second. A motion to adjourn has been made by Board Member Ross, seconded by Board Member Oliver. On the motion, those in favor, please indicate by saying aye. Opposed? Motion carries. We are adjourned. The regular meeting is called to order. Will the secretary please note that all board members are present and Board Member Hernandez is online. Please note that today's meeting is being live streamed. Also, please note that we have Spanish interpreting services available in the back room. Board Member Hernandez? Nope. Okay. Thank you.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Buenas tardes. Si necesita intérprete en español, favor de mirar a Joel, que se encuentra a un lado del cuarto. Muchas gracias.
The first item on the agenda is 1C, Pledge of Allegiance and Moment of Silence. We will stand as Senator Alston reads us the Pledge of Allegiance and remain standing while a moment of silence is observed. Thank you, and please be seated. The next item on the agenda is 1D, Land Acknowledgement. Please remain seated as Board Member Marquez reads the PXU Land Acknowledgement Statement.
The Phoenix Union High School District is responsible for and committed to creating educational environments that prioritize the achievements of Native American students. We are committed to making their cultural identity visible by acknowledging that our school district resides upon the ancestral lands of the original caretakers. The Huhugum ancestors of the Akimeril Atham, Ankh, Akimeril Atham, Thananatham, and the Akchin. These sovereign nations are presently known as the Gila River Indian Community, Salt River Pima, Maricopa Indian Community, Thanaatham Nation, and Akchin Indian Community. This formal acknowledgement is dedicated to the 22 sovereign nations of Arizona. PXU understands the importance of providing reparations through truth-telling. We recognize the historical injustices not traditionally taught in the classroom and are committed to practices prioritizing Native American knowledge, history, representation, and healing. We commit with an open mind to always respect the land, its history, and its ancestors.
Thank you. Trevor G. Brown High School has a long history of supporting students through the arts. Teachers encourage students to explore the world through creativity and personal experience. TGB is excited to see the future of the fine arts SEAL career pathway and where that may lead students. The featured artwork represents a combination from digital photography, drawing and painting, explorations of art, and ceramics classes. TGB Art highly supports students to use their artwork to explore self-expression, relaxation, and finding personal meaning. While not all students may go on to careers in the arts, it is extremely important for them to explore art and find connections to their daily lives. TGB visual arts students use their creativity and problem solving every day in their art classes. The teachers and students of TGB hope you enjoy the artwork that has been created.
President, I have a motion.
Yes.
A motion that we remove item 1E from the agenda.
Second.
Thank you.
And can I just clarify that it's being removed now for potential action at a future board meeting if necessary?
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you. There is a motion to table agenda 1E for potential action at a future board meeting. There's been a second. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Thank you. Motion passes. Next item on the agenda is 2A. Thank you, Board Member Hernandez. The next item on the agenda is 2A, recognitions and accomplishments. We are very excited as we have many student celebrations tonight. Oh, Board Member Oliver.
Thank you, Madam President. Tonight, we get to celebrate two outstanding students from where? the academies at South Mountain. Yanis Muhammad and Ivan Shaw are in the midst of earning their pilot's licenses and recently participated in solo flights while still in high school. Both students passed the FAA tests and are currently flying, including solo flights and night flights. In her spare time, woo! Yes. In her spare time, Yanis Muhammad is the cheer captain, BSU president, track athlete, JROTC member, and was a host for Senator Mark Kelly during his visits to the academies. Ivan Shaw is in the football team, a JROTC member, and flew in the flight simulator with Senator Mark Kelly during his visit to the academies. When asked about these students, their campus administrators shared that Yanis is a dynamic speaker, highly motivated, and represents a movement for more women of color moving into the STEM fields. Woo! Especially flights. All right, she's very aware of how important this is, and she loves to encourage other young women to follow in her footsteps. Both are incredible leaders on campus and deserve our recognition this evening. Join us as we celebrate Yanis Muhammad and Ivan Shaw for pursuing their dreams of flight. Woo! 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 Vanessa.
Thank you. Board Member Para.
I got so excited, I forgot I had to say something nice. Congratulations to both of you. The next recognition is for the Phoenix Coding Academy for their students winning Congressman Ruben Gallego's Congressional App Challenge for District 3. Congratulations. Under the direction of CTE software development teacher, Ms. Susana Masameri, the team is made up of Nicholas Cruz, Annabelle Vasquez, Charla Satchel, and David Rosas. When asked what inspired the creation of their app called Heartberry, the students said many accidents are caused by different types of health issues. An experience that inspired the app was an incident involving a team member's mother who was driving while experiencing low sugar and lost consciousness. Thankfully, the team member who was in the passenger seat was able to stop the car before the crash and called an ambulance. When hearing about the story, the team decided to create something that could have alerted the patient to leave the road sooner, which is when they had the idea for Heartberry. Heartberry detects changes in heart rate and alerts the person using the app to pull over or stop what they are doing to seek medical attention. Their app is currently being displayed on the Congressional App Challenge website, and they will be heading to DC this month. Yay! They will be supported by campus, district, and CTE funds to formally present their project. Please join us once again in congratulating and honoring the students from Phoenix Coding Academy who created this incredible application.
Thank you, Board Member Oliver.
Ward 2 is full of amazing students in amazing schools. Not that I'm proud or anything, and not that I had anything to do with it. But recently, the Bioscience High School Dragons robotics team, number 2375, punched their ticket to the 2024 First Robotic World Championships after winning the Nationals. What? Yes! The event is hosted in Houston, Texas from April 17th through the 20th. This is the team's first trip to Nationals since 2019. Although they are extremely excited about this opportunity, The team has run into some fundraising challenges and is actively seeking sponsors to support their trip. We want to thank Superintendent Andrade for stepping in and ensuring that expenses for this trip are covered by the district. Yes! We are excited to let them know that their expenses are covered and to go represent the district at the world competition and bring home the gold. The team will be featured on Fox 10 this weekend, telling their story and asking for local support to help them cover any additional costs that they may have. Join us as we congratulate the following students and staff from Bioscience. Pope Enrique, Brittany Delp are the sponsors. The team members are Ba Minta, Aisha Ali, Roger G, Vincent Husiar, Aiden Vu, Edelson Morales, Ariana Smith, Jadzia, oh, come on, Andrade, Caleb Payne, Fong Duong, and Aaron Kokumo. Thank you all.
Congratulations to all the students. We are super proud of you. And I'd just like to highlight how expensive it is to actually earn a pilot's license, and what an amazing opportunity that our students have at South Mountain to be able to go into high school, earn a credential like this, and go out into the workforce, go to college, and just be ready to go out and get it. So excellent, excellent work. Our next item is 3A, reports from student government. Tonight we have student government representatives from Carl Hayden Community High School, Desperata, and Betty Fairfax High School. Our student government representatives this evening will highlight their schools in this order: Dominic Connery from Carl Hayden, Linda Moreno and Alex Burgett from Desperata, Ginger Merle and Aiden Martinez from Fairfax. Dominic, welcome. Will you please provide your report?
Good evening, President Napa, Governing Board members, and Superintendent Andrade. My name is Dominic Connery. I am the class president of Carl Hayden High School for the 23-24 school year. I will be speaking about the past accomplishments, overcoming obstacles, resilience, acceptance, and embracing change. I participate in varsity sports, multiple clubs on campus, and I will be going to GCU in the fall to study to become a biology teacher. It is through my dedication, persistence, and 100-hour weeks I overcome these obstacles and accept change and be the leader I would like to see in this world. Before we begin, I would like to share this passage with you. This is something that is posted on the walls of the stucco room, and something that our advisor uses to guide and teach with. Something that is hard to do, but not over time. We have learned that the hardest decisions are often the right decisions. Next slide, please. Carl Hayden experienced some minor setbacks during the first semester that ultimately resulted in miscommunication and misrepresentation. However, students strive to build the staff and teacher morale and rebuild the school spirit. And we choose to thrive. Sometimes we have learned along the way is you sacrifice for what you want, otherwise what you want becomes your sacrifice. Our advisor taught us that through her actions of incredible sacrifices. Next slide, please. Carl Hayden received a new advisor this year. With this change, there was small setbacks that temporarily hindered the accomplishments that Stuco was capable of. However, through the dedication and hard work of our new advisor, students could embrace change, learn to self-advocate, build relationships, communicate more effectively, and lead the way on campus and in the community. Her sacrifice and dedication taught us to be different, to be the difference, and we can be or do anything we want to set our minds to. With the hard work of our staff, teachers, and students, Carl Hayden was awarded a B rating for academics. Carl Hayden hosted a voters registration event, and several students registered to vote. We had the opportunity to update our Falcon mascot, Freddie, and put on a successful homecoming assembly and dance. Stuco has hosted several photo shoots for senior athletes to receive a day of recognition and reward their hard work with a vinyl banner. Carl Hayden prom was on March 30th, and at the Phoenix Zoo. Carl Hayden will host a blood drive on April 23rd. This year at Carl Hayden, Stuco plans to host a lunch for all its teachers on May 7th, cook breakfast for them on May 10th, and provide a day of pamper with massage. If there is one thing that Carl Hayden Stuco students have learned this year, it is that success is not something that happens overnight. It is something that it is not something that we can sit around and wait to happen. It is not something that we can assume from others if we are not willing to put in the hard work, persistence, rejection, sacrifices, taking risks, communication, and advocating for ourselves and others, and discipline. Thank you.
Thank you. Linda and Alex, welcome. Will you please provide your report?
Thank you, Dominic. I'm Linda Moreno, Student Body President.
And I'm Alex Burgett, Student Body Vice President. We are here to represent
the
Desiderata.
I'm sorry.
We're sorry.
There have been a lot of events so far at Desi. We've had a fall talent show, a fall spirit week, and in December we had the reindeer games, which is a week full of daily advisory competitions and dress-up days. Students and staff could earn points for the advisory house teams by participating in the activities and for dressing up each day.
We have hosted 2 blood drives this year, and we have one more coming up April 30th. We also have had a staff and student versus student basketball tournament. We try to create events for staff and students to make it fun, and this also helps staff and students to build relationships and to get along more, which supports school spirit.
Finally, we have a Semester 1 Awards Assembly to recognize student growth in academics and behaviors. Currently in our video announcements, we are doing weekly senior spotlights to celebrate our 2024 graduates and their plans after graduation. We are continuing our advisory house competitions at lunch every Friday.
Each week, 1 to 2 people from each advisory compete in an activity to earn points for their house team, as well as other activities such as Spirit Week to earn points. Both staff and students can participate, and every staff is tied to a house team so everyone can be included. The house team at the end of the school year has the most points, is crowned house champion and earns a pizza party.
Sugo is also working on creating staff training videos to help support with training future DESI staff with our school-wide procedures. We also have a skill of the week that is tied to the PXU learner profiles. Each week we recognize a student and staff that are demonstrating that skill very well.
In the next month, we have planned a Spring Spirit Week and a Spring Talent Show. We will finish out the year with an end-of-the-year awards assembly and graduation.
It's been a great year so far, and we are hoping to end it strong. Thank you for listening.
Thank you. Ginger and Eden, welcome, and will you please provide your report?
Hello, good evening. Thank you, Linda and Alex, for that presentation. My name is Ginger Morel, and I'm currently Student Body President at Betty H. Fairfax. So I would want to start off with our programs and classes, starting with IB, who provides college testing for our students to get college credit, as well as does CAS projects to allow them to give back to our community. Then I would like to feature our student government. Personally, I believe we are the backbone to our community, giving Spirit Weeks, pep rallies, dances, including our prom that is this Saturday, and providing just a great time for students and community. Then we have our arts, who have won many awards this year, providing expression as well as featured at the state fair. Lastly, we have theater, who hosts 3 plays a year and a talent show, as well as many other fundraisers. Next, I would like to feature our sports. Our cheer team has made it to nationals for the past 10 years. Let's give it up for them. Then we have our boys soccer team, who had made it to the playoffs, amazing, and our boys wrestling, or actually our communal wrestling, who made it to state and also won awards. I would also like to feature our tennis team, who goes to the Indy Wells tennis tournament in California to see actual live pros and give them more success and happiness. Then I have our clubs that I would like to feature: choir, GSA, and BSU. Our choir performs at many district events, including the President's Luncheon. They are currently in New York getting to experience theater as well as many art activities. And 3 students made it to All-State and 9 to regionals. Our GSA hosted the Pride Summit for our district communities to bring together our GSAs and empower our students. Lastly, our BSU goes on many field trips to empower our students as well, giving them leadership opportunities, and throws an MLK assembly. Another thing they do is actually go on a trip to feature HBCUs to kind of experience the community around them. Lastly, I would like to give us a round of applause for our community service because although we do not feature it a lot, we do provide a lot of it in many of our clubs, including Key Club, NHS, and AVID. We do blood drives, street cleanups, read to kids, as well as many other things to give back to our community. Thank you. And I would like to say thank you to our governing board for letting us directly come to you with our accomplishments, our successes, and the opportunities we award to our students and schools. Thank you.
Yes, thank you so much. Just want to ask that principals, please work with your student government advisors and your elected STUGO to please give the board feedback on areas of improvement. We really love hearing about the wonderful things that are happening on campuses, the wonderful accomplishments, but as a board, what's super helpful is to hear from the students as to what can be better. And, you know, to the students in the audience, really, student government, these are your electeds, they are your representatives. So if you have areas that need attention, if you have things that need to be improved, please take it directly to your student government. And to that point, students, you may not be able to vote for any of us sitting on this dais, but you are our constituents. Any issues that you have, you can not only bring to your student government, but you can also, you can come to the podium, sign a blue card, and sign up for public comment. I highly encourage any students to come and address the board, but really, student government, please bring us things that need to be improved. Thank you. Next item is 3B, reports from employee organizations and the Phoenix Union Foundation for Education. Mr. Esteban Flemons, CTA President.
Napa, Superintendent Andrade, governing board members, community and staff in attendance here and virtually. I'm Esteban Flemons, PXU CTA President. I'm honored and quite frankly a little bit sleepy to be here talking on behalf of our members tonight. It has just been, it's one of those weeks and the weather is a little rough outside. To start our report, I would first like to say thank you to CEA, ADA, as well as the district team for successfully completing IBN negotiations for the 23-24 school year. It has been a long but productive season. From CTA's perspective, we look forward to seeing some of the changes. We will have some MOAs that we will continue to extend for the next year to determine how does that really affect education inside the classroom and should we make them permanent parts of our language. We also know that in this summer, this fall and this summer, we are going to be doing a deep dive into our document because we're finding some things that just need to be cleaned up to make it more inclusive and more representative of all individuals in the district. For CTA, we are also currently in our election season for our CTA campus representatives, which include our campus committee as well as our core members. And we're really excited to see the increase in enthusiasm for our members to be engaged in leadership at all levels on our sites. We have one site where there is one open position for campus committee, and we have 7 people running for that spot. So there's a lot of interest, which is wonderful, which means for the 24-25 school year, with this increased engagement, we hope to set our sights on campuses being more engaged with their teachers, but as well as CTA being more involved with district committees and leadership, as well as reaching out beyond in collaboration with both AEA to review our leadership, advocacy, and engagement. So as we move forward, please don't be surprised if you start to hear more and more from CTA as we reach out to board members through our political engagement community to have conversations and just be more part of the process. Last month, I was here and I spoke of concerns about the system and the speed in which it affects our employees in the district. My job as president is a people-focused job. It is the people that elected me to this position and is the people on campuses and in this building that I interact with on a day-to-day basis. I was elected by amazing staff in our district. I work in collaboration with great people in this district, and the people are rarely the issue when we have a problem. The systems and the structure at times let people down, tie people's hands, and predetermine people's fates. Since our last meeting, there have been people who have left their positions in the district with minimal opportunity to speak their truth or express their regret because the system was unwilling to listen. There are staff that may speak tonight at Opens about the future that the system asked them to trust, but they feel was betrayed. There are people who are still waiting for the system to let them speak their truth. As we move forward, Superintendent Andrade has spoken about streamlining the system, and I often hear staff cheer when they hear that because they think, oh, it's a money-saving issue. What does person X do? And I reply, person X is a person, and they have a job, and they're probably doing their best. But in our system, their job may not be clear. So I hope that as we streamline and we consolidate systems to work more efficiently, we empower the people that can lead and direct them to do so to make the process run better. I don't like to explain to my members that in their situation, the system may have failed them, but they should forgive the system and move on. I want a system where if there's a concern about something, I can go to person A to address the concern, not to person A, B, C, and D, who are all well-meaning, but are doing their best to not step on each other's foot, but also within that space, unable to move the concern forward. With those concerns stated, I look forward to working with people for the rest of the year and through the summer to make PXU better. I plan on engaging as much as possible as we look to find new leadership as needed to fill in roles of our retirees that are moving on. Lucky for them. Congratulations, Elise, on this one is Mr. Biera, and I know last board meeting was Mr. Lopez. I look forward to helping provide leadership in the district with a better historical and contextual knowledge of our professional agreement and help leaders make a smoother transition based on some of the hiccups that we ran into this year. We can improve from there so that next year is a better year than this year was. And I look forward to working with the people and ensuring that our systems get better. With that, I thank you all again for the time that you've given me as president to address everyone here. Let's keep the meeting going. As like I said, I am a little bit sleepy, but I will be here to the end because I appreciate all the work you all do. Thank you so much and have a wonderful night.
Thank you. Joining us online, Ms. Anastasia Jimenez, CEA President.
Hello, can you hear me all right?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Sorry about the background noise, everybody, but good evening. President Napa, Superintendent Andrade, governing board members, and the PXU community. Thank you for having me here virtually tonight. I know it's not ideal, and I do apologize for my absence. I was out supporting the arts with our Phoenix Elementary Emerson Eagles at the Arizona Science Center, who have been selected to exhibit their photography through the Kids in Focus program. And so I have a special interest as one of my youngest and closest cousins is exhibiting his work publicly for the very first time. So feel free to check them out through May 3rd. It's a little plug there, but of course, thank you for the superintendent's office and our IT for adjusting my report out tonight. My report is brief, but I do have a couple highlights tonight, though. It's been one of our heaviest focuses this past month as we go through this home stretch to the summer. So thank you, Mr. Fleming, CTA, and ADA for your shout out and for your efforts. As mentioned, IBN is wrapping up in its final stages, and essentially we are moving forward with our ratification window. So we're looking to have those results within the next week. So we're looking forward to continuing, much like Mr. Flemings mentioned, but to continuing the work within our respective groups, associations, and committees as we move the work forward into the next school year. So again, to his points, Mr. Flemings, thank you again for your shout out and for you hit on a few marks of my report. So I'll skip over those pieces, but thank you for that. So again, thank you to the IBN team and leadership, our PXU talent, EDs, and a special thanks to Ms. Erica Mercado, Ms. Tina Miller, Ms. Jennifer Day, and Ms. Samantha Keene, and all those involved in this very detailed process and sometimes very time-consuming. But lastly, I'm looking forward to the trainings our PD department and our safety division are planning for our ESPs. I just wanted to give another thank you to those involved in the planning and implementation of our PD across the district, and including the governing board for supporting that work. in addition to future opportunities members. Additionally, our sites and campuses too that are hosting some of those trainings to come. So it's a huge effort, and I know, we are looking forward to utilizing some of those remaining ESSER funds to hopefully fill some of these PD opportunities or look for more creative ways to, really engage our folks during the summer. It's maybe some think it's a restful time, but for others, it's really a busy time because we get the opportunity to kind of come together and, prepare for the coming year. And so I really enjoy this time of the year. It's a little hectic, but I think it's well worth it. And so I'm looking forward to working with those divisions, and then in addition to our administration and talent when it comes to our principal summit and our academies, our admin academies and events of those sorts. So much to look forward to and much in the works. But again, thank you all for working with CEA and keeping ESPs in mind and in the room. So, and with that, thank you all and good night, and I'll leave it there. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. John Doherty, ADA President.
Good evening, President Napa, members of the board, Superintendent Andrade, leadership team, and Phoenix Union community. Tonight, just 2 items. I will continue on the IBN message. The 23-24 season has come to a close, and I would like to echo and thank the presidents of CTA and CEA, Mr. Esteban Flemings and Ms. Anastasia Jimenez, for their work and their leadership. All the leadership team that served on IBN, it's an arduous task. It's my 2nd year participating, and it's a big chunk of time and commitment, and to come together and work together in the manner we did. I just want to express our appreciation for their participation, their dedication, and their efforts on all the work that was considered and accomplished this year. And then also, I'd like to recognize and thank Mr. Juvenal Lopez for his stewardship as our facilitator this year. That's also a challenging job we got to witness, and we wish him well in his future endeavors. We look forward to continued collaboration with all stakeholders as we work to address the business of this district and making PXU great. Next item, I'd like to recognize, we're coming to the end of National Assistant Principal Appreciation Week. And so I want to take a moment to express our sincere appreciation for the contributions of our assistant principals in PXU. I know as a principal I would be lost without them. Assistant principals serve as pillars of support within our learning communities. They play a pivotal role in shaping the educational experience of our students, supporting our teachers and staff, and ensuring the smooth operation of our schools. Their dedication, leadership, and efforts are instrumental in fostering a positive learning environment and driving student success. Please join me in celebrating the work and efforts of our assistant principals during National Assistant Principals Week. Let us take this opportunity to recognize and honor their commitment to excellence in education. Thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Laura Taylor, PUFE Executive Director.
President Napa, members of the board, Superintendent Andrade, it's a pleasure to be here. The Phoenix Union Foundation for Education held our annual gala dinner event at Corona Ranch and Rodeo Grounds on February 29th. I want to extend a thank you to all of those of you who were able to attend and show your support for the foundation. I hope you enjoyed yourselves. Our partnership with PXU is vital. There are many throughout the district who are, we're so grateful for your backing. Gratitude goes out to the PXU marketing and communications and the tech teams who put in so much time, energy, and expertise to ensure that this event went off without a hitch. Student performers, culinary students, silent auction baskets that put together by school teams were all integral part that made this success, the event a success. Many thank yous also go out to our annual sponsors that you'll see on the next slide, and our table sponsors. We also want to thank our gala dinner sponsors who also contributed greatly. We have just announced our next group of mini grant winners. There are 15 mini grant recipients, totaling nearly $15,000. And while I don't expect you to grasp all this information on these slides, I do want to let you know that the amount of applications and the quality of applications has increased. We will put this list in our next newsletter and also on our website with a description of each of these mini grants. The 2024-25 scholarship winners have been selected from that process through the applications to the readers to the committees. There are 50 students receiving nearly $100,000 in scholarships. That press release with all the students' names and their scholarships will be coming out soon. And to celebrate, we will be having our scholarship reception on April 25th at Maryvale High School. You'll be receiving that invitation as well. This is really a great event to recognize the scholarship recipients, their families, and their sponsors. And also all the volunteers who were readers for this process will be invited to attend. But before we have this reception, it's time to play golf. So the Foundation's annual golf tournament is April 19th at the Grand Canyon University Golf Course. Registration is open now, so grab your foursomes and come out and play. It should be a good day on the course. Thank you so much.
Ms. Laura, I have a couple of questions. Ms. Laura? The mini grants. Can we have the mini grants back on the screen, please? So just for board clarification, how many applicants did you receive for the mini grants?
This time around, we received 57.
50, and how many of those were funded, like 20, 30?
This time around, there were 15.
Okay, 15. Thank you so much. And when is that window open?
The next one will be open in August.
In August?
Yeah.
So starting in August, when does it necessarily close?
So it'll close in October. So the ones that we're seeing right here are for fall of 2024.
Okay.
And then we'll be a semester ahead.
Last question. How is the mini grant window promoted to our faculty and staff?
We have notifications that go out. The marketing and communications also sends that throughout the school district, and we've put some flyers together that we post at all the schools. We also now have the communications team going out to take pictures of the mini grants that are in process in action, so that we can better promote through what's actually the ones that have been funded, what's going on, and so people can see what they're doing.
Thank you so much. And I was just asking those questions because I have run into faculty that did not know about our mini grants and the wonderful opportunities, and they have wonderful ideas for proposals. So I just want to make sure that all of our faculty and all of our staff have the opportunity to apply.
Absolutely. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Other questions?
Next item, 4A, call to the public. Presentations tonight are limited to a maximum of 2 minutes. According to ARS 38431001H, at the conclusion of the call to the public, members of the public body may respond to criticism made by those who address the public body, may ask the staff to review a matter, or may ask that a matter be put on a future agenda. However, members may not discuss or take legal action on matters raised during an open call to the public unless the matters are properly noticed for discussion and legal action. I would like to caution members of the audience not about commenting on a particular individual and to thank you for not referring to any person by name. Tonight we have the option for members of the public to participate in person and virtually, and we will start with our speakers who registered online. In order to avoid any concerns with interpretation services, please be aware of the following. We have a Spanish interpreter available to join you at the podium while you address the governing board. Only the PXU assigned interpreter will provide interpretation services. If you have a script on paper or on a device, we ask that you make it available for the interpreter. In order to provide accurate interpreting, we ask that you speak for approximately 2 to 3 sentences at a time and pause for interpreting. You will be given double the amount of time to address the governing board as a result. As usual, we ask that you end your comments when your official time allotment has ended. Board Member Para.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Para evitar dificultades con los servicios de intérprete, tenga en cuenta lo siguiente. Tenemos un intérprete de español disponible para acompañarlo mientras se dirige a la mesa directiva. Solo el intérprete asignado por el distrito proveerá servicios de interpretación. Si tiene su mensaje en papel o electrónicamente, le pedimos que lo ponga a disposición del intérprete. Para brindar una interpretación precisa, le pedimos que hable aproximadamente de 2 a 3 oraciones a la vez y que haga una pausa para el intérprete. Como resultado, se le dará el doble del tiempo para dirigirse a la mesa directiva. Como de costumbre, le pedimos que finalice sus comentarios cuando termina su tiempo asignado. Gracias por su cooperación.
Okay, we have one request to speak virtually. Please state your name, indicate the agenda item or topic you wish to speak about, and limit your presentation to 2 minutes. Our first caller is Alexis Chubrick. Please provide your comments.
It's Alexis Chubrich. I'm proud to teach at Cesar Chavez High School. And I'm calling in to thank the safety team at my school for providing a learning environment that is viable. That includes the administration, our SPI, our behavioral interventionists, every member of our security team, the RFI system, and the innovation and cohesiveness of our team that's allowed for anonymous referrals by students. It makes everything work better at our school. I would only have one request to make this system even better, and that is when teachers experience serious disruptions in their classrooms, to be offered the same support and innovation and creativity to solving that problem, and to take a path that is not necessarily disciplinary, but instead problem solving. Thank you, and thank you especially to everyone at Cesar Chavez who works to make it a safe place to work and a fabulous place to learn.
Thank you. Our first public comment is Eva Luz Pombo.
Good evening, President Napa and governing board members. Hello, thank you so much for having me. My name is Eva Luz Pombo. I'm here to talk about the addition of a student board member. I'm so happy to be here with you today and grateful for this opportunity to speak to you. I'm a student at Arizona School for the Arts, which is a charter school in Phoenix, and I'm a resident of the Phoenix District. And I believe that the addition of a student board member to the Phoenix Union School Board would be extremely fruitful for both the student, the board, and the community as a whole. The role of the student board member is unique in the way that they serve as the direct connection between the students and wonderful people like yourselves who make big decisions that affect the larger community. This student board member would become a voice for all students, especially those who may not yet feel comfortable advocating for their needs. Additionally, I've seen how with my own school, the addition of a student board member really fosters an increased level of trust and cooperation within the community. There is no longer the other or the people behind the curtain. It's just us all in this together, working together to better our community, students, board members, and faculty members alike. It's also empowering, speaking from personal experience, to know that there's someone like you, a student with a seat at the table, who is doing their best to make sure your voice is heard. Also, I think the ability for students to take a more active role in their education, whether they're participating in election for a student board member, running to be a student board member, or carrying out their duties as a student board member, I think that opportunity is really, truly special. And it's the kind of experience that shapes young people into leaders, into community advocates, and into good citizens. Thank you so much for your time and your commitment to our community. It's truly admirable.
Thank you. Next up, Adia Sharma.
Good evening, President Napa and governing board members. My name is Adia Sharma. I'm an 11th grade student here at Arizona School for the Arts. I stand before you here today to advocate for a simple yet powerful addition, the inclusion of a student representative on the board. I believe that in order to provide an inclusive community, it's crucial that we have a student on the board and that having a student will allow us to directly relate to experiences, insights, and concerns. In order for our voices to be heard, I believe that our voices deserve a seat at the table. Think about it. Who better to offer feedback on our policies and decisions than the very individuals they directly impact? By welcoming a student representative, you will foster a sense of ownership and empowerment among students and allow us to grow within civics education. Student board members would be able to gain an understanding of the importance of voting, political campaigns, and self-advocacy. Having a student on board would allow other students to be more involved, as it is something students can relate to. Personal experiences allow others to facilitate and communication and build bridges across our community. As a student myself, these policies mean so much to me. They allowed me to share my voices and opinions freely, and allowing students to sit at the dais with you all would inspire others to come here and speak before you and speak their mind. So let's seize this opportunity to embrace student representation and show students that we're not just here to make decisions for us, but rather with us. Together we can stand with a more inclusive, collaborative, and equal educational environment. It's an opportunity for us students to develop leadership skills, engage in civil responsibility, and gain firsthand experience in governance. Thank you so much.
Next up, we have Sarakansi Iyer.
Good evening, President Napa, Superintendent, and members of the board. My name is Sarakanti Iyer. I am a current high school senior living within the Phoenix High School Union District. Exceptional students have come before us tonight, and I'm here in recognition of that as well. These students deserve a voice on the board. I'm here in support of placing student members on this governing board. The first reason why is because this will give students civic education within their schools. With elections, they will be able to gain experience in the management of a campaign, viewing a campaign, and even the experience of voting for a student member of their own. Second, this would improve your ability to make effective decisions. This would give you full knowledge of the impact of each of your policies on the student community. Including a student on the dais would streamline communication and representation beyond what a simple presentation can do. Third, the direct representation of students is essential as they are stakeholders in this education. Students would get a voice in policies that directly impact them, and they would have an advisory vote, which means that they would be able to express their opinion without changing the balance of votes on the board. Fourth, this is a positive feedback loop. Once you include a student at the dais, you'll see more students like me and my peers coming before you to speak. You'll see more students in the audience. You'll have more student engagement. And finally, there's already student engagement around this topic. As you can see, a couple of my peers have come here tonight to support this topic. I did also reach out to many more of my peers at Phoenix Coding Academy especially. Every student that I reached out to was in support of this proposition, and every student that they reached out to at their school, and I can say that there were many, also supported it. There's a lot of support among students to place a member on the board and to have their voices heard. Please support your students and allow us to have a student representative. Thank you.
Next up, we have Lance Long.
My name is Lance Long. I'm a teacher in the district. In the past, I've spoken about reasons why the public perceives that the board pays no attention to them. One of the biggest perceptions that you don't really care is about safety. When you rejected the recommendations of the Safety Committee, it was a slap in the face to the overwhelming majority who voted in favor of those recommendations. Even if as low as 75% was the percentage, and it was much higher, then by extrapolation, that represents 1.2 million people of the city of Phoenix whom you told to take a hike. Your job is to serve the people, not to insult them. I don't know what the numbers are now, but it is my understanding that as of last October, we were down 1,500 students from the same time last year, representing over $8 million. Why are we down so many students? You can blame private schools, charter schools, the previous governor, the legislature, but you're ignoring what everyone perceives to be the case. True or not, the perception is the Phoenix Union High School District is not safe. And this rests squarely on your shoulders. And directly related to that, I share the bewilderment of those who cannot understand why you are bending the knee to the wokeism that seems to be pervading the board. You seem to be turning sound thinking on its head. You kowtow to the idea that police are bad, the consideration that non-licensed drivers should be allowed to park at school, that kids need to carry weapons to protect themselves on the bus, and that metal detectors will criminalize our students. Believe me, if they are carrying weapons to school, they are already criminals. All this makes the public believe that you don't care about the safety of our schools, nor what the public wants about our safety. Am I wrong? Prove it. Prove it by demonstrating through deeds that you care about the safety of the schools. Until then, this is the self-imposed burden that you carry.
Thank you. Next up, we have Naritza Diaz-Cruz.
Good evening, President Napa, Superintendent Andrade, board members. My name is Naritza Diaz-Cruz, and I am a program manager at Phoenix Educator Preparatory. As my position sunsets at the end of the semester, I want to share some of the highlights of my experience at EdPrep. First and foremost, I would like to thank both our external and internal partners who gave their time to provide feedback, counsel, and support to the creation of our school. Leading partner meetings gave me valuable experience and opened up opportunities for further professional growth. I had the opportunity to work with some of the most talented people in our district. Our small certified staff has 3 national board members, 1 PhD in education, and an ABD in education as well, 3 recipients of multiple graduate degrees, 2 Fulbright recipients, and the list goes on, including 4 multilingual speakers. I am so honored to count them as colleagues and friends. I was able to talk to some of the best young people in our community, youth guided by a strong sense of self, intellectually curious, and passionate to serve their communities. I was given the space to think outside of the box and dream about how humanizing educational spaces can be transformational and life-changing. EdPrep reminded me why I chose teaching as my calling, and I only wish for all my colleagues the opportunity to be a part of something as transformational as this experience has been for me. Thank you.
Thank you. Next up, Luke Red.
Good evening, President Napa and members of the governing board. I'm Luke Red, and I'm here speaking as a community member and former employee of PXU. I resigned from PXU in December, and I'd like to share a small piece of my experience in the hope that it does not happen to other employees of PXU. I was a program manager for Phoenix Educator Preparatory, but due to the school's low enrollment, talent reassigned me to be an ELD academic coach at the district. While I understand the reasoning and agree with the need to reassign me and the rest of EdPrep's certified staff, I'm very disappointed with the way it happened. Although EdPrep certified staff boast some of the most impressive qualifications district-wide, we were not given choices nor adequate time to make our own decisions surrounding the reassignment. And in my specific case, I was reassigned to a position that I was not qualified for based on the job requirements. Additionally, I was not provided with training or onboarding for the new job after the reassignment, all of which contributed to my decision to resign. I urge the governing board, CTA, and talent to carefully consider how they can better support some of our most qualified teachers, because if not, PXU will continue to lose some of its best talent. Thank you.
Thank you. Next up, we have Nidra Shepard.
Good evening, Board President, board members, and Superintendent Andrade. Kudos to the young people that we celebrated today, because I want to talk about student achievement. I stood before you last month basically to express my opinion and concern over money spent over the superintendent's search that resulted in the same results. I used the words bamboozled, unanimous, transparency, and watching, and received the phone call. I am sure some of my colleagues understand. Mine was under the auspice of what can we do? We are a top-heavy district, 6-figure salaries. Figure it out. You say you want to listen to the community, but are you listening? A sister school wanted a safer campus, and you said no to the alternative, and you know what happened. Of course you do. The report last month on the African American student achievement was heartbreaking. If you are truly in the business of student achievement, figure it out. Pay people what you owe them. Are the .2s caught up? Don't answer. ELD books ordered in March, not received until October. All campuses not receiving materials in a timely fashion. Figure it out. Start with these few free suggestions. And I just heard we no longer have ELD coaches. It's time for the merry-go-round of same ideas to stop. It's time for new ideas and innovation. It's time to be who we say we are. It is time for diversity, talent, experience, and equity. If we don't have new staff, at least let's get some new, fresh lenses. It is hard to start new with old parts. Congratulations to Mr. Lopez and Mr. Biel.
Thank you. Next up, we have Elijah Chambers.
President, Superintendent, members of the board. To preface this, I'm Elijah Chambers. I'm a teacher at Camelback High School. I appreciate the opportunity to share a couple points with you, namely talking about the healthcare benefit changes and then also dual enrollment at Camelback. I'd preface this by saying that I attended bioscience, graduated from Central High School right across the road, 2013, and have seen not only my mother, well, not seen her, but seen my siblings attend this district also. Currently, I'm being put in a position where I must choose between my students, my love of my community, my home, or being able to take care of my family. Recent changes to the healthcare benefits are laying the groundwork to end my time at this district. We are a single income family. My wife stays home with our 2 lovely babies and takes care of them better than I ever could. As such, I am responsible for the finances, and this isn't a new or uncommon model. With the new changes, even with having multiple years of experience, multiple master's degrees, being highly qualified and a dual enrollment teacher, my take-home pay after insurance for my family will be just over $1,000 for 2 weeks of work. $1,000 for 80 hours of work, $500 a week. That's with the cheapest insurance possible. I'm going to have to choose between having an insured and well-fed family or continuing to stay at this district. Some of my friends have it worse who work as classified employees, projected to earn less than $800 for every 2 weeks of work. I know budgets are tight, but our staff and families and their families are a part of This Is Who We Are. I'd also just say that if you'd like to see dual enrollment done really well in our district, we'd love to have you at Camelback. We're doing great work and are competing for the highest enrollment in the state at this point. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Madam President, that concludes public comment.
Thank you. Next item is 5A, approval of the consent agenda. Is there a motion to approve the consent agenda items as presented?
So moved.
Second.
Motion to approve the consent agenda as presented has been made by Clerk Marquez and seconded by Board Member Ross. Is there any discussion? On the motion, those in favor, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Any abstentions? Motion carries. Can we have a motion to move item number 7A ahead of 6A, since we have a consultant here?
So moved.
Second.
Thank you. We have a motion by Clerk Marquez to move 7A ahead of 6A, and a second by Board Member Ross. Those in favor? All right. Opposed? And Board Member Parra is an abstention. Let's see. 7A, perspectives from Black PXU parents and guardians. Ms. Andrade.
Thank you, President Napa, members of the board and community. A few years back, you'll remember we worked intentionally to lift the voices of Black students, staff, and parents, guardians. The process was intended to really better understand their lived experiences, gain valuable feedback, and then be able to act upon that. Here tonight is Dr. Matthew Whitaker, who served as the consultant for the parent group. He's agreed to reshare the process he went through, the conclusions, and the recommendations that were lifted from this group, and answer any questions you may have. It is with great pleasure I welcome Dr. Whitaker to the podium. Thank you.
Thank you. Good evening, President Napa, to the board, to Superintendent Andrade. It's a pleasure to be here. I'm happy to share these findings with you. And as you've already mentioned, thank you. You all have looked at this report as I understand it. So what I'm going to do is simply summarize the process and the findings. If we can advance to the next slide. I want to contextualize this by saying, giving a specific date framework for which we did this, which is 2019 to 2021. That may resonate with you because this transposed the pandemic that we experienced a few years ago. Phoenix Union High School District held a series of third-party external consultant facilitated groups. Diamond Strategies was engaged specifically to facilitate the Black parent and guardians focus group. The goal was to better understand how these groups experience Phoenix Union's system in the area of educational justice, equity, diversity, and inclusion. Some people call it D&I, DEI, IDEA, Debbie. There's a cornucopia of acronyms for these terms, but they seek to accomplish the same thing. Phoenix Union specifically sought to assess, among other things, campus climate, interpersonal and intercultural communication, the practice of cultural humility among its staff, curriculum, pedagogy, co-curricular activities, counseling, college and career readiness, and safety, in part because preliminary conversations with parents and guardians indicated that these were areas that were important to them. The format, given that we did this during the pandemic, the vast majority of these interactions were via Zoom. Some were via telephone. There were some folks who didn't feel comfortable with Zoom, so I talked to some folks, some members of my team talked to some folks over the telephone. Some conversations were recorded. In fact, we asked if we could record all of them. However, some weren't based on the comfort level of the people that we were interviewing. Some people just did not want to have them recorded, but they gave permission for us to take notes. The questions and prompts that we provided the parents and guardians are on your screen here, and I'm going to go through these quickly. What is your experience as an African-American parent guardian in Phoenix Union? What is your experience as an African-American parent or guardian in Phoenix Union with teachers, staff, and coaches? So we began at the macro level and we got more granular and specific with the questions. What changes at Phoenix Union, if any, would be beneficial to you as Black parents and guardians? Understanding, of course, that not all parents and guardians of Black children are Black. This is the reason why we have the turn of phrase. What is your African American students' experience in Phoenix Union with teachers, staff, and coaches? I will indicate that there were other consultants who engaged the students, who engaged the staff. That wasn't under our scope of work, right? So they did get feedback about what the students themselves were focusing on and thinking. What is your Black students' experience in Phoenix Union with learning, formal curriculum instruction, and informal co-curricular activities? These were the primary questions and prompts. However, we did develop alternative ones just in case we went through the preliminary 5 or 6 questions and there was more time to have conversation and they wanted to do that. So, one of the first things that we asked them about was the hardest thing about being a parent of a Black student at their child's school. Right? That was a general question. The more specific ones, 1 through 5, were, number 1, I feel most supported as a Black parent of a Black student at my child's school when? And we allowed them and asked them to finish that particular prompt. Some of the best experiences I've had on a school campus as a Black parent student have been ... And I would be remiss if I didn't shout out North, because for whatever reason, a disproportionate number of folks who responded to that question literally mentioned North High School in their comments. So I just thought I'd throw that out there. But if you read the report, you've seen that. To address racism targeted towards parents and guardians of Black students, we must. And the parents and guardians then responded to that. To address racism targeted towards Black students, we must. So we acknowledged in the prompt that parents themselves were the targets sometimes of racist behavior, as well as the students. In some households, you had both of them that had been traumatized by racist actions and comments. What guidance or wisdom would you give to school leaders, teachers, and staff to best support parents of Black students or guardians of Black students? And to support our Black students to achieve success, Phoenix Union needs to ... These were the questions and the prompts. This is a summary of the conclusions. And if there are questions or comments, I can become more granular with my responses, but these are the general responses of the conclusions that we had. Number 1, respondents had a sincere and passionate request for increased self-awareness, education, and accountability among staff, faculty, administrators on issues confronting Black students. There was a general consensus that there were a lot of people who believed that they knew more about Black students in the context in which they live and exist than they actually knew, right? So the parents said there needs to be more information, more education, more in-depth understanding, and thus empathy. They're asking for recognition and respectful, timely, personal, and culturally informed communication with school and the district personnel. After safety, which was the number 1 concern, communication was number 2. They want their children to be safe, valued, uplifted, and affirmed on campus, right? It's just not enough to treat them normally. Parents wanted their children to be uplifted rather than just greeted and sort of going through the motions. This would happen in the parents' ideal world, in the classroom, co-curricular activities, and in systemic efforts to make them college and career ready. There is a general belief that there wasn't enough focus, motivation among faculty and staff and employees at the district to put Black students and work with Black students to put them into tracks that will make them successful in college. Recommendations. These are not our recommendations as Diamond Strategies. These are recommendations that the parents and guardians themselves gave us as we were having our conversations. Number 1, expand effective cultural sensitivity and humility training. This came out of a sincere concern about some of the students, a disproportionate number of students, being perceived as being threats when they were simply being young people. Concerns about them being unduly ushered into the school-to-prison pipeline for behaviors that are not unlike behaviors that are typical of young people. But when they are displayed with folks with toffee and caramel-coated and hickory brown skin, it's often perceived as being more threatening. This was the parents' concern. Have a titled and salaried person installed to serve as a liaison between the black community and leaders at each school and the district. This was a theme and a request almost to a person that I spoke with. Provide more black representation among staff, faculty, administration. Attitude reflects leadership, and though anybody can lead and do a great job of doing it, studies have shown for the better part of 60 or 70 years that when you have leaders that look like you generally try harder, there's more cohesion, there's more trust, and there's higher performance. Provide more opportunities for dialogue between school, the district, and the black community. And not simply more opportunities, more consistent opportunities. The biggest concern for black parents and guardians was what one parent described as a start-go approach to interaction with us. You talk to us, you disappear for 6 months, 3 months, a year, you come back, you ask the same questions, we give you the same responses, and nothing actually is done. Avoid approaching BIPOC, Black, Indigenous, and People of Color students and community engagement as a zero-sum game, in which targeted intervention is seen as diminishment of other groups. In other words, some parents said, when we have asked for specific things that our students need, and the definition of equity is giving people what they need to be successful, not what you want them to have. When parents said, when we came and asked for specific things, we were told, well, we're doing this for this group, or what about this group? And if we do this for this group, we have to do this for that group. And one of the things that I suggested to the parents was an idea that the University of California, Berkeley has been trumpeting for years called targeted universalism, meaning you have one larger goal that you're aspiring to. We all love our students, we all want them to do well, but we understand that different students from different communities has different needs. And so the targetedness is targeting those specific needs underneath a larger umbrella of achievement. That's my fairly quick summary of the report that I did for you, but if you have any questions for me to dig deeper or answer any of those or have any comments, I'm happy to respond.
Yes, thank you. Board members, do you have any questions? Go ahead.
Yes, thank you so much, Dr. Whitaker. In your work with DEI or JEDI or all the things you could call it, how have you seen organizations as big as ours take recommendations, whether they're Diamond Strategy recommendations or these recommendations from our parents, and set actual attainable SMART goals?
Yeah. There's macro approaches and there's micro approaches. So at the macro approach, at the district level, there have been certain interventions where school boards, because I've worked with a number of different school districts, have enacted certain macro systemic approaches. So for instance, creating the position that we talked about, right? So that's a macro position. Offering specific curricular offerings that talk about the history and life and special needs of particular groups of folks. More often than not, it's lumped into one omnibus sort of BIPOC or people of color training or class or something of that nature, or a cognate or a module is woven into, let's say, a literature course, where then we pick up a book on Toni Morrison for one particular module. That level of approach, given the needs, particularly of black students, is not intense enough to move the needle. Where you actually see the needle moved is when we have some audibling, like a good quarterback. So given the specific need of a specific school, it could be access, it could be communication. So for instance, one of the parents said they've enacted some things at the school that have been helpful for us with my student, but this other school is doing something, automated calls, using certain apps. We all know that young people don't respond to email in particular, right? They're not responding to that. You want to get to them, you have to have certain apps, things of that nature. So you can audible based upon more specific needs at specific schools for specific students, but you first have to know what those are. And right now, we're approaching it with a one-size-fits-all approach, and you can't get that granular when you do that. I don't know if that helps or not, but that's just one response.
Yeah, just to follow up. So the second recommendation is to have a titled salaried person as a liaison at each school. In previous board meetings, we've talked about, does it make sense for a district as large as ours to have a chief in charge of DEI, or is this something that has to be everybody's job and sort of within the entire district, training for every staff member? And can you accomplish that if there's not a titled and salaried person, whether that's at each high school or at least one person district-wide leading this work?
In theory, you can. It's harder. And so my response would be, it's not an either or. I would recommend both. Now, budgets are what they are, and they don't always allow for that. The reason why I say both, because if, let's say you hire somebody at the district level, a chief diversity officer, those persons are not like the Gandalf the White Wizard of DEI, meaning they can wave a wand and do everything across a district as big as this. So what happens is they burn out because they're asked to do too much. Now, if they have someone that's a peer at a specific institution that can work with them, now you have a tentacle, a spider web, where you have somebody that can be at the larger level that's working with the community and the district on larger visionary issues, but then you have basically a boot on the ground at every school who can ensure that on the ground things are happening. So that's an ideal situation. And I know that we can't always respond to ideal situation, but that's the best practice.
Thank you. I appreciate your presentation and your responses.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Madam President?
Yes.
Dr. Whitaker, thank you so much for your presentation and the report from the focus groups. Does your organization do recommendations or just provide the data to us and let us figure it out?
We do make recommendations.
Did you do it in this instance or no? We didn't get that. I don't see it.
In the conclusion, we trumpeted what the parents recommended because, quite frankly, those recommendations are the recommendations that we would make.
Okay, that's fair.
Yeah.
Board, any more questions, comments? Okay, thank you so much for your time.
Thank you very much. Appreciate the opportunity.
Next item is 6A, Superintendent's Report. Ms. Andrade, please provide your report at this time.
Okay, good evening, President Napa, members of the board, and community. On March 26th, Trevor Brown High School opened their brand new softball and baseball fields for use by our students. I want to thank Board Member Oliver, Principal Streeter, our local voters for approving the bond that paid for these fields, and the rest of the TGB family, dignitaries, all for welcoming us with open arms to throw out the ceremonial first pitch. While the crowd enjoyed free ices, popcorn, baseball, softball-shaped little stress balls, Board Member Oliver and I were busy getting a pitching lesson from this young lady named Shyla Vasquez. During our session, I was worried that, seriously, I was not going to reach the plate. But Shyla continued to show me her technique, and I am proud to say that we all threw strikes, but we didn't actually have to go the full distance that a regular pitcher would. But again, she taught me how to pitch. She was patient with me and served as a great teacher. And I want to thank her and the team for showing up. And then I got to see a little bit of that first inning where she pitched on the mound and showed us all what real pitching looks like. So thank you, Trevor Brown. In celebration of National Social Worker Month last month, our regular March meeting, we allowed for a special opportunity for our social workers to gather at Helios Educational Center for a day packed with honoring, empowering our social workers. They enjoyed a welcome from superintendent, the executive team members, as well as a special video message from Governor Hobbs, who I learned was really is the first governor-elect that has been a social worker herself. So they also had guest presentations from our community partners. The day was an incredible success, so I just want to give a huge shout out to Alyssa Tarkington and the SFS division, for all of our social workers for showing up with the right attitude and ready. Cammie, Matt, Amber, really it was all that that just made that day so successful. The support and wraparound, especially that our social workers provide to our students every day. We love you and thank you for all that you do. On March 28th, our Native American Education Program hosted a senior career night. Special thanks to the Heard Museum for hosting us and our partners at Indigenous Sky Consulting for assisting with the event as well. So seniors and families had opportunities to professionally network, access to community resources, businesses, take professional headshots, participate in a fashion show, professional bingo. It was a lot going on. It was fun. These events are so important to ensuring a strong and supportive transition for our graduates. Again, I want to give a special shout out to Karen Cardenas, Kelsey Franklin, Turquoise at Indigenous Sky, and her staff. The Phoenix Union marketing team, Heswaldo, for showing up and doing those headshots for our students. It just made the night so incredibly special. On Friday, March 29th, Phoenix Union hosted the annual GSA Summit at Betty Fairfax High School. I, as well as President Napa, had the opportunity to address students and staff and kick off with a welcome in the morning. Students spent their later that morning rotating and selecting various workshops. I very much enjoyed the muscle relaxation session. I couldn't stay the whole time though because it was that relaxing. I would have fallen asleep. But I also had the privilege of listening and stopping by the staff chat session where there was some dialogue, a lot of honesty around their concerns, questions they had, and issues they grapple with on their campus. I want to thank this group for inviting me into this space and being so honest. And I look forward to taking this dialogue to our executive team, to our principals for further discussion, as well as perhaps even to the policy level where it's appropriate. And I just want to give a special thanks to Betty Fairfax High School, Mr. Heredia, Ryan Ussery, David Cole, and all those that made this day possible. It was an incredible experience. Thank you. On April 1st and 2nd, our safety teams came together for the 2024 School Safety and Security Summit. This event is in partnership with several local organizations and provides key training for our safety division. Sessions included the training focused on emergency preparedness planning, youth mental health, enhancing school safety through early intervention, SSO, best practices. And again, we want to thank all involved in this important training for our safety division. It takes a pretty dedicated group. They all went in on their day off. Monday was a day off, and they showed up anyway to be at this conference. So people on that slide, thank you for showing up. Phoenix Union hosted John and Jessica Hannigan, authors of Behavior Solutions and Solution Tree Consultants, on April 2nd and 3rd this week, aligning the work of academic and social behaviors, our SEL competencies, and our learner profile. Staff worked together to promote positive behaviors through education, prevention, and intervention. This training provided an opportunity for the campus teams to identify essential behaviors and create learning opportunities for our students. It allowed our teams to pinpoint tiered interventions while continuing to align our work and increase support to meet the social and emotional needs of our students. The following groups showed up and made up the campus teams. We had our SPIES, our SSCs, our BISs, and select APSs. Again, the more we bring groups like this together to really fine-tune our MTSS system, the stronger it will get. In February, the Scottsdale Community College leadership team connected to our district's BSU and HBCU club leaders because they are exemplary models for other districts. Scottsdale Community College wants to build a partnership with PXU's BSU and HBCU clubs to host an annual conference to help train, officers, and student leaders on collaboration, communication, leadership, and other 21st century skills. This conference does take place tomorrow, April 5th, from 9 to 2 at Scottsdale Community College. Students will participate in immersive workshops and activities that empower diverse high school and college students to build connections, gain leadership skills, and foster positive self-awareness. Some of the topics include leadership development, practical strategies to confidently taking charge, fostering a well-rounded approach to leadership, unity, inclusive environments, and the list goes on. I want to thank and commend the Phoenix Union BSUs and HBCU clubs for being statewide leaders. Congratulations, North High School. You recently earned first runner-up in Jostin's Epic School Revamp. This proven framework helps build culture where teachers love their jobs and students thrive in school. The nationwide competition saw North High School emerge as a true opportunity to build a rich culture and climate that supports student achievement and teacher morale. This award is no joke. It provides almost $60,000 investment into the school that the board will approve a little later this evening. Congratulations, Principal Casillas and the North High School students and staff. On April 17th and 18th, Phoenix Union will undergo the final step in system-wide accreditation. Regional evaluators will spend time with our accreditation teams, our leadership teams, our superintendent, our board reps, and decide on really if we're going to get accredited. They'll probably give us lots of grows and lots of glows, and I look forward to sharing that information with you from this process at a future board meeting. On April 8th, the skies across Phoenix will experience a partial solar eclipse. And while it's a rare and exciting occurrence, I want to remind our community of the safety precautions, the importance of protective eyewear, encourage indoor viewing, discourage photography without the appropriate filters as to not harm your eyesight. We also want to be culturally sensitive during this time, as some of our communities view these occurrences very differently. Our schools are committed to accommodating the cultural considerations. We will have indoor space available during lunch, but let's work together to ensure this event is educational, safe, and culturally responsive. All right, Trevor Brown, they are on fire in their engineering strand there. The qualified to participate in Skills USA State Leadership Competition. So in that first photo on the left, you're looking at our engineering students who attended and competed AZ Skills USA. We've got Jonathan Mendoza, Yari Valdez, Jocelyn Delgado, and Oscar Villon spending hours during and after school in preparation for this competition. In the middle, you see students huddled in the kickoff to the VEX robotics competition. Of course, they're all huddled around there trying to check out what time slot they were given for Trevor Brown. And lastly, you see Jocelyn and Oscar demonstrating many of the Skills USA framework essential skills. Trevor Brown, thank you for representing PXU. You did a great job. April kicks off the season of testing, and here you'll see the district-wide testing percents for 4 different tests so far. We're off to a great start in PXU. I want to commend our Azella testing across campuses, reaching 99.7% for language proficiency testing. Additionally, 97% of our juniors showed up for the ACT test. Special shout out to Fairfax, Metro, Franklin, Code, and Bio for being the first, but not the last, the first to reach 100% tested. Watch out, academies at South Mountain and Trevor Brown are right behind you, very close to 100%. And Bostrom, give them a shout out for being at 90%. The window is still open, principals, and we know these numbers will continue to rise. Special thanks to Arizona Council of Economic Education for providing our young lady leaders with the Invest in Girls program. Today, this is really about Daniela Gonzalez from Franklin Police and Fire. She's a star and was featured on the news for a variety of topics such as portfolio management, investment banking, the corporate finance, and even cybersecurity. This program aims to break barriers and help young women find their path through the belief that they can see it. If they can see it, they can be it. And that is the message for young girls across Arizona from this Arizona Council of Economic Education. Way to go, Danielle. You made us proud on, I think it was Channel 15. We have another $1 million scholar in Phoenix Union. This makes 3 with Charles Matta from Betty Fairfax High School, joining the list of scholars. In May, the board will see a variety of students that have been recognized from the class of 2024 from all academic and ability levels. We can't wait to share more about this incredible class and the beautiful students going places and doing things that matter. As for Charles, he plans to attend Duke University in the fall to study computer science. He also hopes to incorporate music into his college life as a current member of the Betty Fairfax Choir. His goal after college is to use his degree to give back to the Levine community, since he was supported greatly by it through the years. Congratulations, Charles. We're going to hold you to that. All right. Speaking of the class of 2024, graduations are right around the corner, and although they aren't until late May, we want to make sure that you get them on your calendar now. For details, visit www.pxu. Memorial Coliseum for hosting our comprehensive campuses. We're excited and can't wait to celebrate our scholars with you. Earlier this week, we celebrated Paraprofessionals Day and the crucial role they play in supporting learning and development. They work so closely with teachers, one-to-one assistants, facilitating small groups. Their dedication and contributions really help create an inclusive and enriching environment for our students, and a lot of magic that happens in our classroom is thanks to these dedicated professionals. We see you and we love you. In Phoenix Union, we also love our assistant principals. Regardless of the acronym or role, you play a pivotal role in shaping the lives of all young people. And oftentimes, the assistant principal is a thankless job. They are the first ones on campus in the morning and usually the last ones to leave. They help keep our schools safe, our students connected, our staff engaged, and ensure learning takes place on our campuses. Let's take a moment to clap and honor all our assistant principals during National Assistant Principal Week. Thank you for all your service. All right, in 1986, Defense Secretary Caspar Weinberger established Month of the Military Child. The month of April is designated for celebrating across all military branches, which is why purple represents each branch's color. Each year, the President issues a proclamation recognizing the significance of the month for the military child. In addition, each state recognizes this month as well as dedicated date to Purple Up as part of the celebration. This year, on April 19th, will be the official date for the state of Arizona. In Arizona, we have 46,000 military-affiliated students in 503 schools at 10 military installations, which include Guard and Reserve components. Join us in turning Arizona purple during the month of April as we celebrate the month of the military child. And lastly, I want to finally close this evening celebrating Arab American Heritage Month. This nationally recognized celebration aims to recognize and honor the contributions, culture, and heritage of Arab Americans to American society. From advancements in science and technology to achievements in literature, arts, and music, Arab Americans have left a lasting impact on American culture and society. This month provides an important opportunity to recognize and celebrate the diverse contributions and the rich heritage of Arab Americans while promoting understanding, inclusion, and appreciation of the culture and identity. This concludes my report. President Napa.
Thank you so much for that. And just as, you know, just lifting this up, it's nice to have visibility around solar eclipses, and I certainly hope that our campuses are communicating the policies and the considerations for students with strongly held beliefs when things like this occur. Go ahead.
Yes, that communication, I believe, is scheduled to go out tomorrow morning, and then another call and dialer over the weekend.
Wonderful. Thank you so much. The next item is 12B, approval of recommendation for alternative to expulsion placement for student 2023-24-09. Is there a motion to accept the superintendent's recommendation for an alternative to expulsion placement for the student identified as 2023-24-09?
So moved.
Is there a second? A motion has been made by Board Member Oliver and seconded by Board Member Ross. On the motion, those in favor, please indicate by saying aye. Those opposed indicate by saying nay. Do we need a roll call vote? Roll call vote.
I don't believe so.
No. Okay. So aye. Nay. Abstentions? Abstentions?
I abstain.
You abstain. Thank you. And Board Member Hernandez?
Aye.
Okay. Motion carries. The next item is 12C, adoption of resolution in support of financial literacy. Ms. Andrade.
President Napa, members, April is also, in addition to all the other things I talked about, recognized as National Financial Literacy Month. The importance of financial literacy really goes without saying. We have and will continue to embed financial literacy in our graduation requirements and our courses. We recently added it with our dual enrollment opportunities at Camelback, as well as through programs and activities that promote that financial literacy to our students and staff. But I think we can do more. Educating our students helps really mitigate those unintended consequences that can result from simply not knowing or realizing the risks associated with financial decisions. Adopting this resolution tonight demonstrates our commitment to strengthening and shaping financially independent graduates that have the skills necessary for improving their financial well-being as adults. I recommend adopting this resolution.
Thank you, Ms. Andrade. Is there a motion to adopt the resolution?
I motion.
Is there a second? Motion has been made by Board Member Ross and seconded by Board Member Oliver. Is there any discussion? On the motion, those in favor, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Please indicate by saying nay. Any abstentions? Motion carries. Moving on, the next item is 12D, discussion with potential action of Governing Board professional development and review of proposed changes to Board Policy BIB. Ms. Andrade.
Okay, thank you. Back in January at our board retreat, we started to look a little bit deeper at professional development aimed at student outcomes for our board members. And through a lot of discussion and back and forth dialogue, we decided at that point to take it back to policy and develop a strong policy and then move forward from there. Again, what you're seeing tonight could be a discussion, but it could also be a first read. Really outlines the purpose of the professional development. It allows for the boards to have some decision-making authority, for the annual budget associated to it to be flexible within the needs of that particular year. It allows for sharing of what you learned at a conference, and it outlines the required training and the ongoing training associated with board members. I want to thank Eileen Fernandez, Member Marquez, for working on this first draft, and at this point, I'm going to turn it over to Ms. Fernandez for any other comments or considerations.
Thank you, Superintendent Andrade. I think you did a beautiful job explaining the summary of the changes, but I'll go through them section by section, again, very briefly. As Superintendent Andrade mentioned, you considered this policy during your January 19th board retreat. At that time, you had some additional input that you provided us, and so the changes that you see before you today reflect those additional requested changes. So to start, the opening paragraphs have been amended to provide more detail on which type of travel activities are covered by this policy, to require that a monetary allocation be made for board member professional development travel, and to specify that the board as a whole will make decisions on which members will be best suited for that travel. Next, There is specification on topics that need to be covered for new board members, which are related to this policy, as well as other matters that the board felt were needed for new board member training. Thereafter, there is a section that allows for board members to evaluate the trainings they receive, including a matrix created by the board to be used to score those trainings. And finally, there is a section related to budgeting for board professional development training that requires traveling, which will be paid for by the district. There's also language to address possible conflicts of interest when a third-party organization pays for board travel. And that's all I have, unless you have any questions.
Board, any questions?
Yeah, President Napa. Ms. Hernandez, on the required training for board members, I don't see any stipulation for, where, how. If you're a new board member, I don't know how you would find these places to go and get this required training. Is there any stipulation that we can put in there about that?
Thank you, Board Member Oliver. We could add something in there. I didn't want to tie your hands as far as what available trainings you may have. We really were trying to structure this in a way that gives the board the most authority to be able to make those decisions on their own. We can certainly, as part of this plan, you could certainly instruct the superintendent to bring you some suggestions as far as where that training would be available for you.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
President, thank you for the work you did on this. So a couple of questions. The first one, and I vaguely remember us discussing this, so it's probably just going to be a memory refresher. Can you elaborate on item C, please?
Are you referring to the opening paragraph?
Yes.
Okay.
Where it says that sharing information, what does that look like?
So in other words, it would look like almost like a board report. So whoever the board member is or whomever the board members are that have gone on that training can come back in a public meeting, get themselves on the agenda as a discussion item, and that you would basically give a report to your fellow board members as to your training. You could also do it at a retreat or any public meeting.
Okay, thank you.
Member Ross, we've already modeled that once before with City Year when a few of us went to Tulsa. We came back and had a discussion and shared with the other members what we learned and experienced in Tulsa. Although that wasn't a conference, it was a similar modeled experience.
Thank you.
Any other questions or discussion? Okay.
Can I make a motion? I would motion that we pass this as a first read, and then between now and the second read, incorporate Board Member Oliver's recommendations.
Thank you. There has been a motion to pass this as a first read and then incorporate the changes from Board Member Oliver. That has been made by Clerk Marquez, seconded by Board Member Oliver. Is there any discussion? On the motion, those in favor, please indicate by saying aye.
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 Opposed? Abstain? Motion carries. Item 13A, next meeting. The next regular meeting of the Governing Board is scheduled for Thursday, May 2nd at 6 p.m. At this meeting, we will be considering the proposed closure of Phoenix Educator Preparatory and will be making public comment at that time. Formal action will not be taken until the June 6th Governing Board meeting. Item 13B, request for future agenda items. Members, are there any items you would like to recommend to be considered for future board meeting agendas?
Thank you, Madam Chair. I had connected Superintendent Andrade to a contact at the U.S. Department of Education on the FAFSA issue. I would love for Phoenix Union to consider participating in the department and the White House's week of action coming up April 15th to the 19th. to really drive FAFSA applications. We are at an all-time low, as you probably know, Madam Chair, and so would love for us to really make a concerted effort as a system to drive those up. I know there have been a lot of challenges with the new form, and so just would love to have that be something that we discuss, how that impacted us this year, and how we can resolve it going forward. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you. Any other items?
Yes, Madam President. I would like to have at least a discussion with our legal counsel regarding the legal parameters around student representation on the board or liaisons.
Yes, thank you so much. I would like to echo that. I know that we are working on a student bill of rights, and I would really love to hear or see an exploration for opportunities for a student board advisor or representative folded into that. Second, I would like, I would really like a review of our reassignment policy, especially considering if we are putting staff into positions that they are not well equipped for. I would also like us to potentially explore special assignments. While I know that we may be getting rid of positions or moving personnel around, I feel that there's an opportunity to address issues in the district and assign people to their qualifications. Just lifting up the presentation by Mr. Whitaker, or Dr. Whitaker, the recommendations and the request by our Black parents for certain positions. Really would hope that we not lose people because they are put into a position that was out of their control and they are not suited for. Any other items?
Madam President, I have one more. If there is not currently a mechanism, I want a discussion about a mechanism for all staff members to have their concerns heard, such as a confidential employee line where they can voice their concerns.
Thank you. And one last thing, we did hear public comment from students around Asian and Pacific Islander CR programs. I know that we've requested updates, and I don't think we've had an update yet. I'd like to hear any progress that we have on that area. Anything else?
Yes. In line with the proposed changes to policy BIB, I think at our next board meeting we should provide an update for those that went to Washington, D.C. for the policy conference with the Council of Great City Schools. So that's one request, is that as an agenda item. And then a second request for the May meeting would be a public conversation about goals for the superintendent for this upcoming school year.
Thank you so much. Anything else? All right. We're good then. Item 13C, motion to adjourn. Having concluded our business, is there a motion to adjourn?
I motion.
Second.
Second.
Motion to adjourn has been made by Board Member Ross and seconded by Board Member Oliver. On the motion, those in favor, please indicate by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. We are adjourned.